What is going on, everyone? My name is Jared Haas, and welcome to the Best of the Track. This weekend, NASCAR is at the Irish Hills of Michigan International Speedway. We have boots on the ground, and joining us is our ARCA editor, Mark Kristl. Mark, this weekend, the NASCAR Xfinity Series took action, and Noah Gragson seemed like the dominant car. Yet, an interesting strategy call to get stage points rather than a race win, which pays out a little bit more points-wise, obviously pay out too, on that front. Mark, what is your thoughts? Do you think Noah Gragson, the fastest car at the track, should have kept that track position, or do you think he should have done what he did, try to go for that stage point?
I haven't looked at the breakdown of the points post Michigan, but I know that they were talking on the NASCAR and NBC broadcast about the importance of regular season points. And so I think what he was trying to do was say this might be a fourth place car, but we'll sacrifice fourth for sixth in exchange for one playoff point and 10 stage points. And I think that worked quite well. And, at the end of the day, he wasn't the victor. Michigan's been very good to him. And, he said after Indy last weekend, he really likes Michigan. Indy and Michigan seem to be very good tracks for him. And I also wonder if Junior Motorsports just decided to take a little bit of a gamble. Can we get stage points, get the playoff point, and hey, we have so much confidence in our driver. We think we can go out and win this race too. They have the wins where they can afford to gamble. It's not Vegas, but he is from Nevada.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's my thought perspective on this. You got to realize you got to play big. I mean, you got to play big picture with the point standings, but you're the most dominant car, and you weren't seeing tire wear fall off as much. So you got to play going for the win, especially when you've already got that one win in your bag and you're trying to get, those playoff points and those, obviously not getting stage points, but it wasn't really the brightest moment. I understand that perspective, but if there was another caution, Gragson was able to caught up and probably would have passed Ty Gibbs. But you got to realize sometimes Michigan isn't like that wreck fest that we see at some of these road courses, like last weekend of the Cup Series race. So hindsight's 2020, but Noah Gragson did what he could for that stage. We'll see with that. Mark, I want to
And let's
pivot
not
to
forget Josh Berry either. Josh Berry started off, I think, on lap 2 or very early on.
with
He
Kyle
hit the
Weatherman.
wall, then came back, and he finished 8th, and he would have been probably top 5 speeds all race. So, you're always working in this car, always trying to get that extra spot, even when something persistence and just grinding, man.
Yes, absolutely. Mark, I want to talk about the track surface for a second, too. A lot of people like to compare this track to kind of a sister track in lengthwise to Auto Club Speedway. Auto Club hasn't been repaved since the track was open in 97, I believe, but Michigan more recently had their track repaved, I believe, for the 2012 season. What are the differences and similarities for this repave, California versus Auto Club? What are the similarities and differences that you see?
You said California Auto Club. It's Michigan versus Auto Club, but it's a late night for us both. Um, as far as Auto Club versus Michigan, as Kyle Busch pointed out, at Michigan, it's higher speeds. Even though the next gen is different than the Gen 6, they still expect higher speeds at Michigan than at Auto Club because it's a half mile bigger. It's, the terms you're pretty much holding, I don't necessarily know full throttle all the way, but you're going much more full throttle. And, track position is so much more valuable here because we didn't see as much tire fall off in the Xfinity Series race versus 1.5 mile tracks. You oftentimes expect there's going to be enough tire fall off to justify pitting rather than gambling. I think these stages, will you see if you have a caution like you had today where there is a caution with less than 10 to go on a stage? Will you see the field get split? If so, be sure to follow Frontstretch because there could be some really interesting content that comes out of that.
Absolutely, Mark. And we're going to get to our picks. I know I kind of screwed up Auto Club and California. It is Auto Club versus Michigan. It is a late night, but folks, don't worry. We still bring that content, as you say. we're going to get into our front stretch picks. And last weekend we had Steven Stump on the show at Indianapolis. And of course, he picked first, and he had Tyler Reddick. And he won the road course at the Brickyard. And I had Chase Elliott finish for 16th. I couldn't beat that. You can't beat a winner on that. So you guys are catching up to me. Mark, who do you have getting lucky at the Irish Hills of Michigan?
Ford is very, very good here. They've won 7 straight, I believe, Cup Series races here. So it is very hard to say Ford will not win. However, Bubba Wallace doesn't drive a Ford, and there are other cars who are not Fords who have been fast. My gut tells me that it's going to be Martin Truex Jr. He's been knocking on the door. The NBC broadcasters pointed out that Truex Jr. seems this year like he's been close, and if he gets a lucky break, this could be the race. So I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to go roll on the dice. We're not in Vegas, we're in Michigan, but if you go in the infield, I'm sure there will be people who will be partying and be willing to gamble. And I'm going to say Martin Truex Jr. gets his first victory of the season, giving us 15 winners in the regular season, Mr. Jared Haas.
You're getting that chaos all over again. And I told Nolan, let's not get this chaos started. Let's not have a doomsday scenario by the time we get to Daytona. Pretty interesting pick. We'll see how Truex does. And I'll go with my pick. Again, I think this driver is starting to build a momentum for the postseason for 2022. He's performed well at, these higher speed type of tracks. And I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick. I think I've seen him a lot more consistency. He was relatively fast. He's starting inside the top 10. And we've seen their track positions key. So if Reddick can hold his track position, he can do well and probably even contend for the win. Mark, it was a pleasure to have you on here for the best of the track here. And from everyone here at Frontstretch.com, make sure to subscribe and have a great race weekend. Jared Haas with Frontstretch.com. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check one of those 2 videos out that we have right beside you. Visit Frontstretch.com for more great content.